Paolo Banchero in his rookie season showed everyone in the NBA why he's one of the best young prospects the league has to offer, and why the Orlando Magic are in prime position to be one of the better young teams with their young core in the near future. The 2022 draft class was great, but Paolo Banchero was just better than everyone else in the field, and his on-court performance showcased why. At 6'10", 250 pounds, his size and agility with his frame makes him one of the best offensive tools that the league currently has, only get better. The versatility of having a tweener big man at 6'10" gives so many options for the Orlando Magic to utilize Paolo Banchero in an offensive set, but just by looking at Paolo Banchero's entire rookie tape, the league better be ready for what Paolo Banchero has in store for the near future. Paolo Banchero this season averaged 20 points per game, around 7 rebounds per game, around 4 assists per game, and shot 42% from the field while shooting around 30% from 3, and played in 72 games this season. Paolo filled the stat sheet whenever he was on the court. These are impressive numbers to put in your first year in the NBA. He's one of only 12 rookies in NBA history to average over 20 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. Players like LeBron James, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and these are players that you want to be around when they talk about you in NBA history. In regards to his peers in his rookie class, who all had a great season, Paolo Banchero still shined above many of the other players, being top 5 in points, rebounds, and assists, and he was 12th in free throw attempts in the entire league. Crazy to think about as a rookie. Now we're talking about a rookie, day one, entering the league and being one of the best top 15 players, being able to draw fouls and attack the basket. And Paolo Banchero did this at a very, very high level. He was a great driver to the rim that opened up his offense and others for his team. And we talk about it again. You got players like SGA, players like James Harden, players like Luka Doncic, so agile to get to the basket. You got a guy like Paolo Banchero who also is agile and mobile at his size to fight off the contact from a defender and still get to the basket and at times finish, and if not, that's 2 free throws. Many teams are going to have to figure out ways to put up a bigger body on Paolo Banchero to get him away from the rim, and if you don't have that versatility on your defensive side, Paolo Banchero is going to be able to easily get to the basket if you don't schematically take that skill that he has as a driver away from him. I really want to talk about how beneficial Paolo Banchero is for the Orlando Magic, because sometimes players in certain situations can bring out the most out of that organization. Last season, the Orlando Magic finished with a 22-60 record, and this season they finished with a 34-48 record, adding 12 more wins. Now let's be honest with ourselves. Players like Markelle Fultz and Cole Anthony returned from injuries and had better seasons, and Franz Wagner and Wendell Carter Jr. are also 2 great young players that also had improved seasons this year as well, so I gotta give credit to these players on the team that contributed to the Orlando Magic having an improved season compared to last year. But from what Paolo Banchero adds to this team, it's versatility with his size for the Magic to run different lineups. When you look at their team stats from last year compared to this year, the Magic improved in almost every single category compared to last year, and the most impressive improvements were their points per game, free throw attempts, free throws, 2-point efficiency, and field goal percentage. Also, they were number 1 in average height on the court last season, and a part of that is due to Bol Bol. Shout out to you. But I will say that because of the versatility that they have in their height and their young, tall wings, they're able to put out different lineups that also cater them in the rebounding edge and on the defensive end at times. And even in this season where they won 34 games, it included a 9-1 stretch that also included a 6-game winning streak. And I know this doesn't seem like much because we're in the playoffs, we're seeing all these better teams play, but for a young team that improved so well from last year, these are great improvements to look at that show you that this team is steadily on its way to being one of the better teams in the near future. Let's take a look at how offensively skilled Paolo Banchero is. I've already mentioned how important his slashing ability is. Strong enough to fight through contact, and he's able to get close to the rim to draw fouls. Rim pressure is important in today's game. If you can apply pressure to the defense has to respect it, and it shrinks their defensive floor, leaving shooters wide open. I don't think Paolo Banchero's finishing bag is something spectacular like a Jaden Ivey or a Jalen Green, but I think that he's just strong enough right now with his frame to be able to swallow the contact and still get to the basket when he needs to. I feel as if like he's just going to get better in that area due to the fact that when the Orlando Magic have more adequate shooting on the floor and maybe a respectable offensive threat that Franz Wagner could become, it's just going to open up the floor for him to be able to get easier buckets around the rim, because if you look at his efficiency from outside as a jump shooter, it wasn't that great, and we'll talk about that. I also like Paolo Banchero in the post. When Paolo Banchero was in college and played for Duke, you could see that a lot of times when he was playing bad, when he was in the offensive end looking to score, it came from the post. And in the post this year, Paolo Banchero isn't one of the greatest post players, but I think that he has the ability to attack from the post on smaller defenders and still get to where he wants to on the court if the defense doesn't respect where he's at. I don't think his game is flashy like I said before, but his ability to get to the basket has to be respected, and if you've watched his game this year, he's a resilient player when it comes to getting to the rim, and it leads to him getting so many fouls drawn. I keep saying it, but being one of the best players this year in free throw attempts is impressive at his age. People may not like the fact that players get fouled and are able to foul hunt, but if you're not able to stay in front of the offensive player and they're just much better at getting to their spots than you beating them to their spots, you got to give credit to the offensive player. And Paolo Banchero this season has shown that he's able to do that. Now, through his ability from scoring is where his playmaking is so important. Like I said before, rim pressure leads to open shooters, and I think that that's only going to get better. He only averaged around 4 assists per game, which doesn't look too impressive right now, but I think that that's due to the fact that the Orlando Magic aren't really one of the best offensive teams in the league. I talked about the versatility with the Orlando Magic and their lineups, able to run a really big lineup, and Paolo Banchero is able to run the pick and roll at times and get to the basket. And you know that if he's able to get to the basket, those dump off passes to the dunker spot where Wendell Carter Jr. could be at or Bol could be at leads to very easy opportunities for his teammates. He has a strong feel for the game and knowing where his teammates are at, and I think from the post playing in Duke, where he wasn't able to be showcased his full offensive capabilities, but his passing ability that you've seen in Duke when you throw the lobs off to Mark Williams, who played at Duke as well, he's able to see the floor, and his passing regimen isn't showcased as like a Rajon Rondo or a Chris Paul, but it clearly is something there, and I think it's going to be cultivated and looked very special. And again, just to add on to the scoring, he's a perennial scoring threat. He had the most 25-point and the most 30-point games from his entire class, and I think that we have to respect the fact that he's able to get 20 points a game in his rookie season. Averaging 20 in your rookie season doesn't really look like much because everyone's averaging 20. This year we had close to 60 players average over 20 points per game. People really don't like the fact that people are scorers and they don't really add much, but I think that we have to sit back and just respect the fact that we're seeing a consistent player still give you production every single night on the offensive end. Now, I can't sit up here and lie to myself. His efficiency does need some work. In his rookie season, he averaged 37% from mid-range and 30% from 3. And in February, he shot 3%. 3% from 3. Not gonna lie to you, it just can't fly, Paolo. And he's gonna have to improve, and I think he did near the ending part of the season. I think the jumper is going to be the biggest thing for Paolo Banchero to refine and just be much more consistent in, because he's going to have to be able to hit those open shots. Which is crazy because when you look at his 3-point percentage, he did shoot around 30% from 3 for the entire season. But on wide open threes, the most frequent 3-point attempts that he had this season, he shot 35% on 2 attempts. Now in open threes, which are around 4 to 6 feet from the defender closest near to you, he shot 21% on 1.5 attempts. Paolo Banchero just has to be much more consistent with his jump shot regimen. He will consistently be a top 20 player very soon. And I will say this, his last 15 games in his rookie season, he shot 38% from 3 on 3-point attempts to close the year, which is a very massive improvement from going to 3% in February to 38% from the entire year. Hey man, those are things that we like to see from these rookies as they improve as the season goes along, and Paolo Banchero did that. Now, I will say this, I don't think he's the best defensive player in his class. I still think he's going to have some work, especially in figuring out what role he's going to play in the defensive end for Orlando Magic as the future goes on. But I do think, again, like I've said before, the versatility in what you can do with Paolo Banchero with the lineups that are in Orlando. You can go big, you can go kind of small with him at the 5 at times, and I think it just comes down to him being an active defender, which is most important to me. When it comes to defense, a lot of it comes down to just being an active defender and showing willing desire to play defense at times. I think, again, with his size at 6'10", he can be a positive defender on a plus defensive team. Now, do I think he's going to be a point of attack defender? Most likely not. Do I think he's going to be a rim protector? Most likely not. I think his best situation is being a defender and dropping the pick and rolls and just being active. And I think if he's able to do that, that's going to be a plus for the Orlando Magic. I will say that his defensive possibilities are endless, especially what the Orlando Magic will do on that team with their entire roster. From just one season, I am impressed with Paolo Banchero, and I really think he's going to be one of my favorite players in the league as his career continues. In the Orlando Magic, you guys got one. I think that he has a strong feel for the game, an offensive skill set that's going to be utilized to make him one of the better offensive players in the game, and I think that the future is super bright in Orlando with Paolo Banchero being the #1 guy. I'm excited to see how he develops in the league, how he develops his jump shot, how he develops as a driver at the rim, and maybe as a playmaker as well. Because from his rookie season, we've seen bright spots from this guy, and just by looking at his tape again, he's on pace to be one of the best players in the league once he hits his prime. But I don't know. You guys tell me. Let me know in the comment section how you guys feel about Paolo Banchero, some things that you saw from this season that you liked, and some things you think he needs to improve on going into his sophomore season. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You guys know what it is. Turn that post notification bell on so you never miss a video. Make sure you catch up with all my previous videos and my live streams. And until next time, stay on beat.